Saudi Arabia's tech sector continues to grow, and this year it's worth $50 billion already. One of the leading companies is DataVolt, who focuses on building large-scale data systems.
If we don't wake up on a proactive basis to make this industry sustainable, in 7 years from now, we are all headed for a train smash.
Joining me now is CEO Rajit Nanda. Rajit, thank you for being with us today, and thank you for giving us the time.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you for having me over.
I want to start by asking you, so data centers, there's this conception that they use a lot of power and electricity. How do we make these projects more sustainable?
Very interesting question, and thank you for asking that. So look, we at Data Center came to this hypothesis about a year and a half back before we embarked on this journey that the data centers of the future in reality are actually power centers. They are just not data centers. They are a combination of power centers and data centers. And why this seismic change is happening in the world of data center is primarily because of the revolution of AI. So AI requires huge amount of computing compared to the previous data center compute requirements. And compute is the other name for energy. Compute works primarily on energy. As a result of that, what is happening now is the data centers going forward are going to exponentially create a requirement of energy. And in the absence of energy, the whole AI vision for the world, the whole AI revolution for the world is going to completely fall short. So energy is the biggest important trigger, the biggest enabler for the AI dream of the world.
In some sense, AI is playing a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's exponentially growing the use of energy, but at the same time, AI can reduce to some extent or make these projects more sustainable. Is that correct?
The way I would characterize it is that energy is required in the context of compute and AI, and it's a question of what is the best form of energy. Today, what is important is to recognize that green energy is a very competitive source of energy. It is not just about decarbonization for the world. By itself, green energy is the lowest cost of energy that exists in the world. So what we need to do is to harness this green energy for the purpose of what is required in the world of AI or intelligence generation. And sustainability is going to become very important because today 3.5% of the total carbon footprint in the world comes from the world of data centers. Data center requirement of energy is going to go up exponentially in the next 5-7 years. And the decarbonization that is required is to take out 10% of carbon footprint from the world through these data centers. If we don't wake up on a proactive basis to make this industry sustainable, in 5 years from now, in 7 years from now, we are all headed for a train smash as far as carbon footprint in this industry is concerned.
And what is DataVolt doing?
DataVolt's mantra, DataVolt's whole business model is about building these data centers on a 100% sustainable basis on scale. So we are not only just talking about building data centers, but we are talking about building data centers at scale by being the world's largest AI factory. And all of that to be powered by green power. So we want to be proactive, we want to be ahead of the curve, we want to be here solving one of the world's biggest problem, which is energy transition, which is carbon footprint, but by being proactive and not waiting for regulation to make us do that. We want to do that because it is good for the world, it is what the world eventually will end up doing, but we want to do it by being one step ahead, by being proactive.
And if we want to talk about markets, what do you think are the most lucrative markets?
I think without a shadow of doubt, the kingdom is in the best position to be able to harness this opportunity of data centers. I think data centers is that industry which is going to bring the whole world to the kingdom. Instead of the kingdom going and investing in the rest of the world, it is that single biggest opportunity which is going to bring the whole world to the kingdom. The kingdom has infinite amount of land. It has the best political will that exists in the world today in terms of getting large infrastructure projects done. It has a track record of hundreds of billions of large infrastructure having been implemented in the last decade and a half. And the most important thing is today, it is the lowest cost producer of green energy in the world. It is bestowed with a lot of resources which are required for green energy. So all the elements that are required to enable the growth of the AI factories, the data centers which cater towards AI exist in the kingdom. It is all a question of now putting all of this together, moving at breakneck speed, moving into an overdrive, and create that opportunity for the world by building the large-scale AI factories in the kingdom.
So you think they can be a global and not only regional leader when it comes to data centers?
Absolutely. And what is also very important for the people to recognize is that the kingdom has been very proactive on the land, on the subsea cable links, on the Red Sea coast, on the west coast of Saudi. We have 9 important subsea links. So the ability to process data and send it back to the global centers of Europe and US is also already existing in terms of the infrastructure. And a lot of it is coming up also in the next 1 year. It's in advanced construction. So the subsea cable link, which is the power of connectivity with the rest of the world, is there already in place and is getting realized over the next 1 year in terms of what I call advanced construction. When you have connectivity, when you have energy resources, when you have green energy resources at a competitive price, you can very easily position the kingdom to be the lowest cost of compute in the world.
What about regulations and incentives here in the kingdom?
I think the country really does not need incentives. Incentives is for those countries which don't have all this natural and political will. For me, the power of political will is 10 times more important than incentives. And that exists in this kingdom. This kingdom in the last 8 years under the Crown Prince vision, under the Vision 2030 has demonstrated to the world the ability to get on with implementing large infrastructure projects. And that is much more valuable than incentives. When it comes to regulations, yes, regulations are to be studied, are to be brought in sync with something that will propel the growth of the industry. I think on the regulation side, we would welcome some more elements in order to fast forward this industry. But more or less, the ecosystem already exists for the growth, for the harnessing of data centers, which are the critical infrastructure for the connectivity of the world.
Do you think this applies to the entire tech market in Saudi Arabia, not only the data centers?
Of course, the tech market, which is a burgeoning market here also, and you mentioned about it right in your opening introduction, that is also a application industry that will need the data centers in order to fast forward themselves. But still, the capacity requirement for that will not make the kingdom the digital capital of the world. If the kingdom wants to be the digital capital of the world, then it has to look at producing artificial intelligence factories. It has to produce intelligence for the world. And it has to demonstrate that it has the ability to move at breakneck speed to be able to do that, which it has quite capable of doing in the past. And we now need to open this sector. And thankfully, we have a great political will, starting from the top, starting from the Ministry of Communication and IT, the Ministry of Energy, all the ministries are playing a fabulous role in terms of opening up that sector and focusing to make that sector the next big bang for the kingdom.
Thank you, Rajit Nanda, CEO of DataVolt, for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Thanks a lot.